Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm Spiritual Coach Lisa Hobb. It is Sunday, May 24th, 2026. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy, well, I guess I don't want to say happy. I want to acknowledge Memorial Day weekend, right? Because it is a time of honoring those who have given the ultimate sacrifice of serving our country and losing their lives serving in the armed forces. So we just want to acknowledge them and the beyond imaginable of the sacrifice and the immense loss of those who love them, for those who love them. And so, for some, it's gone through time. They never have had the closure of losing their loved ones, some. And that's just, it's beyond my measure as a human being, as a mother, as anyone who has loved ones. I just can't imagine that open door. So I give my thoughts and my prayers to everyone who has lost someone to that sacrifice. I just feel this may sound like judgment, and it's not meant to. We so focus on going to the beach, of the sails, of the barbecues, and yes, of course the parade should be involved, but should not be a more solemn time. A time of quiet, a time of purpose to that. A time perhaps of thinking about how we can center ourselves in peace and not go to battle over things. Some of these wars were so unnecessary, maybe in a way all of them. And so I just, want to again acknowledge this time and perhaps just pray, give a thoughtful prayer at some moment to all those who have given of themselves in such a way, and their families. Now, welcome. I want to segue now. Welcome. To those of you who are new, welcome. Please check out my website, lisahobb.com. I'm a spiritual coach, medium, healer, hypnotherapist, but really healer who has a practice that has branches of this healing, different tools that I give in order to assist those on earth to heal to their greatest way, their largest way, to become your largest aspect of yourself, your grandest version of yourself, to remove all your blocks, to help you to heal with your losses as much as I possibly can. That is my work. Years ago, I decided to start this podcast in order to talk about different topics as another way of providing a healing tool. And I hope for those of you who listen every week, it has done that to some measure. It's my work. It's why I'm here. And so I hope it has helped you in a very beneficial way. So thank you to all of you who listen every week. My work is expanding to more digital products. As I spoke of, if you were listening last week and probably the week before that, I have provided a bundle, as I like to call it, of alignment meditations to align with wealth, health, releasing fear source, which is God. To me, that's what I like to call source, and just heart-centered alignments coming up by the next week. I got delayed a bit by a bit of a journey out. I'm going to be providing meditations to connect with your angels, to connect with your spirit guides, and also again to the I Am. So that is, again, I've said this before, probably last week, right next to me. So I have to record it and get it out. Small meditations. Why small meditations? Because I am one that tends to let my mind wander a bit if I am sitting for 30 minutes or an hour, I do it at times, by the way. I do center myself in that way. I meditate throughout the day because of my work and because of my own internal growth. But I understand that maybe it's more effective if you know that you only have to give a certain lot of time. And you can listen to it over and over again, morning, afternoon, evening, as long as you're not driving or doing anything that requires your attention. So they are available through a Stan store I have, which is STAN.store/Serenity Harbor, which is my business name. And so I hope you will, consider getting that for yourself. I've been told that I have a great voice for meditation. I can put you to sleep. It's kind of similar to this one. So I hope, and please give me feedback. I've gotten positive feedback. And so I'm very grateful for that because it matters. It just matters. And also know that I'm on Instagram under Spiritual Coach Lisa M. Hop. I am on Facebook under Lisa M. Hop, Spiritual Coach and Medium. I have the check mark, so it's really me. And if you don't see a check mark, if it comes to you cloned as a personal account, or it looks like a personal account, this is my business page. It's not me. Please don't click a link. Please don't accept a friend request. In all honesty, I'm not going to friend request you. All right. I might invite you to follow my page every once in a while. I think I just did it again after years. But no, don't be scammed, please. I've gotten noticed, so I'm, being used a bit, but it is not me. But check out that page because it will have, inspirational, kind of postings, and also we'll list my events on there as well as my website lisahop.com. I have a newsletter where you can find out about events because not all events are in person in New Jersey. Some are available via Zoom, and most appointments are available via telephone as well. So you can connect with me no matter where you are. So please keep that in mind if you feel called to do so. I think and of course, if you're here on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share if you feel a connection to this podcast. I would appreciate it, or any content that you see. I've recently concised my YouTube channels, and there is one scripture for the soul that I will be, it only has one subscriber right now. Thank you, subscriber. I'm giggling, but I really mean it. But I will be providing more content on that. That's more spiritually content based rather than, it's not going to be about manifestation. It's going to be about scripture and ancient teachings, not just about the Bible. And I will be providing more content on that channel in the near future. Thank you again for all your interest in my work. I appreciate it so much. Now, you came on today because of this topic, some of you, and the topic is, are extraterrestrials coming in 2027? Because people have, it's out there. A lot of conversation about it, and it's kind of a convergence happening of things happening that are providing more attention to that prediction. And the prediction has come about mostly through channelers, like the channeler. By the way, I have some papers here so I don't forget things, because I usually just go off, I do my podcast through flow. I don't do it through script, but today I do have some notes so I wouldn't miss anything. And it's Daryl Anka, and I don't know why I brain farted on that, because he's actually related to Paul Anka, the singer, and he channels Bashar. And Bashar is one that has been talking about humanity moving towards open contact, towards increasing extraterrestrial visibility, and specifically giving a date of 2027. I've watched the videos, and he has said that. Bashar has said that through Daryl Anka. And also, there's been a retired CIA officer, John oh my gosh, I cannot speak today, people, Ramirez, who has also kind of generally mentioned 2027. And also, there's been other experts. There's another one that I have seen so I've been on spiritual channels, Stephen Greer. And there's been others too, several others that have associated disclosure discussions more with 2027. Now, here's where I come from. This is my own belief system. All right. Predictions. I am a predictor, but I will always tell you predictions are they're always estimates, because they're based on will. They're based on all of us being ready. They're based on human consciousness. So they cannot be to a certain date. That's why a lot of predictions are either sped up or stalled. If they appear on time, it's because the will lined up. And you may have heard in the past people saying on this date this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. You generally can't predict to a certain date. It's just a rarity. I don't think it generally, you can just know it usually doesn't happen, because number one, it doesn't happen because you're waiting for it to happen, so you're automatically pushing it back. All right. And because you're putting resistance up to it, you're keeping it separate from you when you wait for it. And anything you keep separate from you is going to stay separate from you. And that works to everyday manifestation, whether it be wealth, health, love, anything. If you're waiting for it, you're going to keep waiting for it. The universe, it allows it. It agrees. It gives you what you're putting out. So this is not any different. It's if you want to speak about actual landing and that type of thing, I would be one that would say, let's see what happens. Because why would they have to wait till a certain year? It's when you're ready. What if we're not ready in a certain year? Maybe it's 2029 instead, and so I tend to be one that's not prone to putting a lot of weight on time frames. And so I want to say that first. But there has been given a lot of weight to this. And as I said, it's a convergence. And it's a convergence of the understanding that there is life beyond this planet. I think that's I don't want to offend anyone, but a common sense kind of thing. Like, why would we be the only planet that would have life in this whole massive, expansive universe? But also, we are going through a time where our humanity's waking up. We're going into higher consciousness. We're ascending. And I spoke about that last week. Awakening, So a time of awakening automatically extends us out to other beings, to other ways of life, So it's heightened intuition that's happening. Angels are speaking to us more. God is speaking to us more. So why would that not include our feelers going out to other planets and channelers being able to channel not just from figures such as Jesus and Mary and Bashar, but why not? Well, Bashar is kind of celestial more, or other planet more. Why not the Palladians? Why not other realms of existence? Of course, it would be included in that. So it's a greater awareness of consciousness. It's also a time where our old systems are collapsing. You don't have to, my gosh, we do not know our government like we used to. Things are just not as they used to be. And I make no judgment. I don't know if it's, currently better or worse, or that was better or worse. It's just different. There's a collapsing. Now, yes, I will tell you that better is coming because of our awakening, because of our ascending. But first, it sounds like I'm being told to say the phoenix is rising. But first we have a crumbling. And it can make things rough. It's like you don't know what's happening and you don't know how to steer yourself through it. So we have that going on as well. And so we're feeling more aligned with the universe, or more awakened. We have the old collapsing. We have a heightened intuition. We're connecting more with heaven. We're noticing our departed loved ones more than ever before. We're accepting it as mainstream. This started decades ago, where we started to accept as mainstream connection to departed loved ones, to angels, to spirit guides. I halted there because I have been the black sheep, not the black sheep, the black sheep. I was the one. It's like, she's odd. Don't talk, Lisa. Watch your audience. You're different. Now I'm mainstream. To most, there's still, some people who don't feel comfortable because of their religious beliefs that they've been taught. But there's History Channel now has paranormal. Travel Channel has paranormal. You could probably find them on mainstream channels, at times. It's there's so many. Ghost tours are huge money makers. It's people are like sponging it up. They want to, they want to know they want the experience. They want the connection. And so we're in a different time. We're in a different time. And so this openness would naturally converge onto the curiosity and the wanting of connection to those realms that are beyond us. We also want answers. We want answers to things. We want to know we're not alone, that we're not dealing with this all alone, because it can feel very isolated, so much like an alone time, and so we want to know that we have helpers. And guess what? This is what 2027 is all about if it happens. I don't honestly, it doesn't have to happen with like a War of the Worlds. By the way, it's not going to probably be like War of the Worlds, so don't worry about that, please. But I don't feel necessarily it has to be like a physical landing of a spaceship at the White House lawn and that type of thing. It could very well be that it is consciousness, that it is more that you feel it, that you hear it. But yes, is it possible that it could go to more physical, where we actually see in a larger way these beings? Of course, because we're seeing everything else so much more right now. But again, don't put fear to things. Don't put fear to things until, don't worry, never worry, but if you have to worry, don't worry until you have to, right? And honestly, I've got no indication from any source that this is a time that we're coming into where you would have to worry about that. They're helpers. They're part of the helpers. They've been helping us all along. And I'm going to venture here with you guys. And I'm going to say this. They're already here. They're just disguising themselves. They're here as some of the scientists helping us. They're here as your neighbor. Don't be looking at your neighbor weird, though, please. Because more than likely they're not. But they've been here. And yes, they have been going through channelers. They have been inspiring. There is this movie I love, Paul. It's called Paul. Paul is the name given to a Martian, an alien. And I love that movie. I love that movie because there's some truth to it. And he was here helping. And then he wanted to go home. There was a big drama about it. But, you know, there's always been that assistance, you know, for a long time anyway. And so this is all that will potentially happen. What's happening now and what potentially can happen next year is that they just make their presence more known. It's like a coming out. Maybe be a coming out in any way. Now, I will tell you what really backed up me thinking that maybe there's a possibility of 2027 is that the government is now releasing more and more and more UFO files. They're not saying anything with them. They're just saying, look at this. We don't know. Unsolved. It's like they're getting us ready. It's like they're preparing us. It's like they are working with the system, so to speak, of this alignment with all of this. And so I find that very interesting because why are they now not blocking it? People are, coming out and talking more. It started with astronauts saying, I saw something when I was up there, and speaking, not just at cocktail parties, but more open about it. And so I think in its own way, it may not even, I'm not saying it's intentional necessarily or part of a plan necessarily, but it is a bit of alignment here with the government releasing things. It's like if you get used to seeing it, then you will feel more comfortable with it. And so I'm noticing that recently, currently, and you may be noticing it as well. And there is a show that I don't watch as much anymore. It's called Paranormal Caught on Camera, and it's on Travel Channel. And why I don't watch it so much is that I don't mean to offend the producers of this show, but they're using a lot of YouTubers now. They're using people that are trying to get on Paranormal Caught on Camera to promote their profession. And they're not just innocent bystanders out in the woods. They planted themselves out in the woods to try and find, Bigfoot, because that's what they do. And so it's interesting how, I happen to be out here, and I'm now seeing something that I want to call Bigfoot. So that's interesting because that's kind of what you do. So they can be the same way with other things. They're looking for ghosts in haunted places. They're not just randomly staying there. I would love if they were just randomly staying there and caught something. I would believe it more. That's what I'm saying. And so, but why I bring it up is that there are many people who are catching things in the sky. And these things are sometimes explainable and sometimes not explainable. I tend to be more analytical about it. If there are a triangle of lights, that's definitely something that is not always explainable. It could also be governmental, and they're not telling us that it's governmental. But yes, oddities in the sky can be sources not of our planet. Absolutely. So I find that all very interesting. I love things like this, by the way. I love the cameras. I'm digressing now, but I love the cameras that show the apparitions walking down the street and they suddenly disappear. And I've had that on my own personal camera. And I've seen it on others. And so I love it. I just love this because we have the technology nowadays to capture things that we couldn't capture before. And so it's good. It's really good. I think it is anyway. It's, it's actual evidence. But there's no evidence today no scientific evidence that 2027 is going to be an ultimate landing, physical landing. Scientists are not saying that. They're not backing that up. But are they willing to say that there is life outside our planet more and more? Absolutely. So do know that this is all about more of 2027 is about a bunch of conversions of people saying things, usually through the internet or through channelings that have spoken about this year, about the year of 2027. So I want to emphasize that there's probably intelligent life beyond Earth, but there is not a specific timeline that everyone is saying, lock your doors, they're landing. Okay. And honestly, there have been key years before with connection with UFO communities and such. 1987, 2000, 2012, wasn't that a big year? 2020 even, I've heard. And so this is not the first time that a specific year has come up. So keep that in mind. And again, don't put concern to it, because when I've mentioned it to a few people, they've reacted with fear. And there's no, this is not a time of fear. We have enough to deal with every day, don't we? With moving away from our survival mentality into understanding that we are provided for. That is what Source is telling us, what God is telling us. You are provided for. There's no need to fear. You do not have to be in survival. Survival is, competition. It's defensiveness. It's, thinking there's not enough to go around. It is, worried about our, survival of our being. We really don't have to overall, okay? Yes, should you go outside and be alert to your surroundings? Of course, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about there's not limitations. There's infinite resources for you, and you are provided for it. And we're coming to that understanding more and more and more and more. And so do you know that fear really is made up. Fear is not most of the time necessary. It's based on what ifs. What if this happens? And then generally most of the time it doesn't happen. I remember when it was, Prince sang about it in 1999, and then nothing came of it. No computers didn't lock up. I remember being at a New Year's Eve party and wondering what's going to happen at midnight. Absolutely nothing happened. And so we also don't want to watch the media, please. Oh my God, don't watch the media is what I mean. Oh my gosh, the media. And media is about promoting 90-ish% of the time, maybe even 98% of the time, promoting the fear. There was just, on a cruise ship, hantavirus, just on this cruise ship, all the doctors, all the scientists said there's nothing really to worry about. It was a low probability of anyone off this cruise ship catching this. Yet the media was like, they kept talking about it. Are you sure? But what if? But what if? Because they wanted the ratings. It's report from your soul. Report from your soul, not from getting ratings. Because it promotes fear where fear is unnecessary. And hantavirus is not COVID. That's a whole different thing, because that was something we should have used more precautions. We should have really protected ourselves. It's a whole different thing. But they tried to, the scientists kept saying that it's not COVID. It's not COVID. The doctors, and yet it's like, but we want to report on this. We want to press it. We want to follow. We want to watch a plane. It's not even the plane of people coming back, and it's just was amazing of. How what we're exposed to can really sometimes not be best for us. healthy. Stay with the healthy. Be informed, but stay with healthy. And we're at a time where we are, being inundated, but also we are losing trust in our institutions. AI is accelerating, so I can tell AI. You can tell when it's fake, all right? Be discerning. But also, it's possible to use AI for, positive reasons, but don't let it be used in your life. Be discerning. Don't let it be used to promote fear in you, all right? So, again, as I said to you, we're coming to a time of consciousness more. It's becoming more mainstream. Meditation, promoting, developing our intuition, our ability to connect to the other side. This promotes this atmosphere of being poised to be aligned with contact. But it doesn't mean that it is as we have watched in movies before. It doesn't have to be that traumatic, right? It may just be that you feel that you are becoming more aligned, or are more aligned with that which is not of this planet. And maybe that's what your soul wants to align with, what your spirit wants to align with. I also heard this, and I'm being told to bring it up with my inner voice. There are those who are powerful figures, such as one was J.D. Vance, our vice president, who wants you to know that extraterrestrials are demons, and if they come to our planet, they are demons. All right, demons don't want to promote science, don't want to promote vaccines, don't want to promote peace, don't want to promote your intuition. All right, that's fear. So watch out for those promoting fear, because they have an agenda. All right, and you are powerful enough. You have intellect. You have intuition. You have all that you need within inside yourself to know what is really going on, and to please just believe in yourself and don't play it small. No, you're not little. You have all the gifts that you need to be able to know. Also, don't go down the rabbit hole. Watch those conspiracy theories, all right? Some among us think they are discerning. They have intuition, but they get wrapped up in conspiracy theories. Yes, sometimes there is truth to some things, and sometimes it's a rabbit hole. Just watch. Is it of your mind, or is it of your gut? Because the mind is the ego that could start thinking a whole lot. And so watch those thoughts. Watch what you listen. When you listen, close your eyes and listen with your intuition. Don't listen with your fears. Don't listen with your thoughts. Don't listen with your mind. All right? What I did yesterday, I do this sometimes, I don't do this often, is I listened to a peer who has a YouTube channel. And I've seen him in person before. And he's known for being very psychic. So he was doing predictions for the new year. And I'm not one who believes in predictions for the year. I actually used to provide forecasts, for personalized forecasts for people. And I stopped them because, predictions, I didn't want them to follow the prediction. I didn't want them to give up their power, but also I knew that they have free will and they're creating their future every day. And so a prediction is just a possibility. And so it was too fortune teller for me. And I always say fortune tellers are not real. And so, but I was interested to see what he had to say. And I watched this video that he actually recorded like 5 months ago, and he got one of the timelines. He actually had some truth, and one of the timelines though, it went early to what he predicted. See, timeline went early. It, instead of it happening in April, it happened in March, but he got what was happening correct. So that's what I mean. It's the timelines can sway. So if someone had watched that, say 4 or 5 months ago, I'm sure, he has a lot of followers, so people did. If you're watching for it and waiting for it, there's a possibility mass consciousness can make it stall. But in this case, they watched it and didn't put the emotional self to it too much, so it actually went off early. And that was because the wills around it promoted it going early, meaning the ones who actually made the decisions, that were the ones, one-on-one involved. And so they just decided to go off on it early. And so that can happen. All right, so know that timeline. But whatever is meant to be with the will, whatever the intentions are, will occur. And that can be large, and it can be to you personally, whether it be about relationship or job or money or whatever it is. Whatever you focus on is what you get. And if you're focusing and focusing and focusing, you're going to get it. All right, so they were focusing on, for instance, going to war, and they did. And so he caught that because it was strong enough energy that he picked up on it. All right. So it was interesting. And also what I like to do when I listen sometimes is I like to see what I get compared to what they get. And if I get the same thing, I'm probably going to subscribe. Because then I know, because I trust me. And so if we're on board with each other, doesn't mean I'll say subscribed. But yes, that is how I figure out perhaps who has some true abilities. Right? And so it's a personal thing. A personal no, I'll just keep it with personal thing. I've lost my train. So anyway, and you can do that too, by the way, in developing your intuition. I used to, I do this too sometimes, but not in a long time. I'll watch a ghost investigation show, and a medium will go into a room, and I'll say to myself, oh, so and so's in there, and then they say it, so and so's in there, and I'll go, oh, okay, we both picked them up. Okay, they're real, like that. That's what I mean. Test it when you watch shows, when you listen to people, on YouTube or whatever. Do you get it? And try to get it before they get it, or when they get it, do you agree? Don't give up your power. You have power too, of discernment, of intuition, of mediumship abilities. We all have the ability to be tapped in and tuned in and turned on. Right? So use that. It's a wonderful tool. But for today, have awareness of what's around you, not from fear, but to notice who might be helping, what may be helping, what advancements are going on that may have a little, connection to that which is beyond us. Don't you think we're being helped all the time in some way? Even if you're religious based, you believe, I'm sure, that God can assist, that our angels assist, that our guides assist. Well, why wouldn't other planets, other realms assist? Because they have technology themselves, because they've learned. Some have learned. I heard it's the Greys that have learned. I think the Greys are the ones that are the ones we most connect with, the visual extraterrestrial, the big eyes, the little bodies, maybe they're green or gray. They help us because of what they experienced themselves because they didn't learn in their civilization, because they did harm themselves. So now they're all about helping us so we don't do the same thing to our planet. Well, thank you. Welcome. It does, by the way, doesn't mean you have to go out into the forest and look for them, unless you want to. But, it's, sometimes these other realms are emerging among us because they have learned and they want to help. It's higher call. It's higher consciousness. It's, and in some way it's welcomed, because they wouldn't be here if they didn't think they weren't welcomed in some light. So keep that in mind as you move forward, as we move forward through this year and into next year and beyond, because this planet is helping itself. And there are those who make fun of it. That's where their alignment is. They make fun of climate change talk, and they make fun of they have a fear of electric cars, but some have an agenda with that too, money. But there is helpful among us. So never give up hope. Don't live in fear, and know that you can call upon help in any way yourself, wherever you feel most comfortable doing it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you connected with that. I hope it made sense. And I welcome all my new listeners, and I'm thankful beyond measure to those who trust in me and listen to me and have been helped in some measure by my work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm, again, so grateful. And again, if you are listening to this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. Any platform, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, wherever you are, thank you. Just thank you. And check out my website, lisahop.com. Go to stan.store/Serenity Harbor for that meditation, and keep yourself alert, because just yesterday I was investigating some backdrop for doing digital courses, and so behind me, backdrop of course, and so that will be coming as well. So I'm thankful again for your trust. Have a good day, a good week. Thank you again to those who have been impacted by those who have made the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day. And until next time, many blessings.